Speaking of guys who we don't know where they're going to play, Jeremiah Jones just committed to Nebraska. Where do you think he's going to end up playing?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Why wasn't there more love from like Kentucky or somebody in the area?
That's a good one. He's not going to be a fat kid number for sure. My sense
Bunch
is
of jerks.
You probably know. You can probably appreciate this, that whenever you have somebody that's playing like 9 different positions, I think there's sometimes a little bit of a difficulty for coaches in like projecting and like where does this guy fit? And from talking to people, I mean, he was great at Florida State's camp as a tight end, like one of the better players at their elite camp. I think he ends up on defense personally, or at least starts there. With the ranginess, he kind of, to me, seems to fit more of that Javin Wright type body type and what he can eventually be. So I think he's probably a safety to start. Maybe you move him to linebacker depending on how much weight he gains. But I mean, it's commitment to me is very much like, okay, this guy can obviously play football at a number of spots. He's a good athlete. The frame is there. We're going to take him, and we're just going to figure out the puzzle later. Like, you need to be okay with just not having that answer right now if you're a coaching staff with him, because it's pretty wide open. So I think that's a little bit more of what happens. I think Nebraska's got a number of guys that are kind of similar type bodies where, maybe an outside linebacker, maybe a rover, maybe a safety, and just kind of figure things out. So I think that was kind of my takeaway. But you turn on the film, and I mean, the competition level is probably not super, super high, but you can see it. And I think there's a ton of potential there.
Yeah, I don't remember. Who's the last player? Do either one of you know that we got out of that state?
Kentucky?
Yeah.
It's
that'd be Wandale, right?
Oh, is that where he's from originally? Do you know I never knew that?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole going home thing.
Yeah.
Which was an absolute farce, but I mean, it's neither here nor there. So
going home and not having to run straight into the back of the pile, I think was the unofficial reason.
Didn't want to be a 160-pound primary ball carrier.
Might have had a lot to do with like dads just spinning their chair around in the coach's office, not even listening. I'm giving you my back. Hey, so Bruntz, it's amazing what we've learned as fans, right? We're not as fanatical and irrational as we think. Because I remember this whole positionless thing and developing guys, like that was going to be originally Bo's calling card, right? Remember when they made him DC and he was really creative in these hybrid spots, and Vanden Bosch got the stand, and we just found plays to play guys. And then towards the end of his recruiting, it was like, I can't, like, where is Thomas Brown going to play? I don't know if off a lot. Where are they going to put him? And it drove us crazy. But over time, because of Coach Rule's track record, they can tell us they don't have a position for a guy or not say what it is out loud, and we're like, oh, yeah, it'll work. They'll figure it out. Isn't that amazing?
It is. Well, and there's the luxury to do that when you have the depth, right? Like, think about the guys you mentioned just now. I mean, those were guys that had to be linebackers because, I mean, that they didn't have the depth behind them to kind of mess around with guys and develop them. I mean, I think the thing that, the staff has done well. I mean, the number management has been a lot better than a lot of other staff in Nebraska. I mean, obviously the NIL piece is there. Kind of have scholarship adjacent guys. I guess that's what I'm calling it. That are kind of walk-ons, but on NIL deals. But I mean, when you don't have to, rely on a Jones right away, you can bring them along and kind of see how that looks. And that's kind of been the case with other guys too, so far. So, it is interesting how you kind of accept it, but it's also like, those guys have a little bit of time to develop now too, rather than, needing to be counted on right away because you have depth at other spots and guys that are already there and performing well. So I think that's part of it, but I agree. I mean, I think, when you have a track record of finding spots for guys and moving guys and being successful with those moves, it probably buys you a little bit more leeway in the minds of the fans. I mean, there's, John Bullock's a pretty good example of that right now. You just kind of have to trust that they know what they're going to do and again, have a plan. I mean, that's the biggest thing is you can't just move a guy and not have a plan for him.
Bruntz, about a minute left here. SJ from Bishop Gorman, not going to attempt his last name, is expected to commit this week. Nebraska's in the final 3. Where do you think Nebraska stands right now?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that one's trending Miami right now.
Agreed.
Boo.
And, you rock the T-shirts.
It's 30 years ago.
Whatever.
I don't know. They swung big with the Gorman guys in this class. I think the work that they've done in Las Vegas and there especially, I think that down the road can bear fruit. I mean, the fact that you've got, Ruggieri's already, here at Nebraska, the fact that you're getting these guys to visit and seriously consider Nebraska. I don't think they're just taking trips to take trips. That's progress. And, again, if Nebraska can kind of put together something on the field this year, I think you can kind of go back with a little bit more oomph behind your name and your record. And, that matters too.